Lake City finished 2-3 in region play last season. If not for a controversial loss to Myrtle Beach, the Panthers might have found themselves in the playoffs.
We've had a couple pretty good years here back-to-back with some fairly young kids, and we're still young this year. Big goal we've got this year is to increase our numbers on our JV team so that we don't have to rebuild every year. We'd like to get into the reload mode. But we've got a good bunch of kids that's worked hard this winter, and we feel like they're going to do a good job for us on the field this year.
Strength lies in size. Almost the entire offensive line is back for the Panthers. Gear up for some straightforward, hard-nosed football.
We need to get all these bodies in here and get them to working as hard as we can get them to work, and keep things as simple as we can in the early going, and make sure we're executing and doing the things that we need to be doing right.
I think got a different attitude, more unity, better leaders, more of a family thing this year here.
They are dead serious about football here in Lake City. In fact, so many fans want to get in just to see practice. They had to chain lock the fence shut so nobody can get in. One of the reasons the region is so tough this year. Lake City's football team doesn't want to be secondhand.
It's going to be tough getting in those first 4 spots. I think all of us from week to week, it's about a touchdowns difference, and it's very competitive. It'd be hard to call right now.
Reporting from Lake City, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. Marion has consistently been near the top of Region 6 3A, but with the likes of Myrtle Beach and Cheraw, the Swamp Fox haven't been able to clinch that long-awaited title. 1994, the road is again filled with the same obstacles.
I think Cheraw, Myrtle Beach, Lake City, St. John's going to be improved. Certainly Mullins is going to be improved. So it's going to be real tight again and real competitive again.
Marion lost quarterback Chris Finney to graduation. His replacement still up in the air. Russell Lambert was penciled in, but has yet to report to camp. Benny Wilson appears to be the front runner, but it's a couple others that has caught Coach Rankin's eye.
A.C. Harps is a senior. He's out here for the first time. And, he just wants to play. You notice things like that, and he will play. Trey Mason is a sophomore, and he's a real strong hitter. He likes to hit people, and he wants to play. Those are the 2 guys that I complimented.
In Marion, the PD's football dean has another compliment to hand out, one more important than the game itself.
We have, I believe, 12 people on this football team that are in the honors program, and they're excellent students, and I made a comment to them yesterday. I'm real proud of the academic progress they're making and the things they're doing.
Reporting from Marion, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. Sockasty might be the hungriest team around. They claim they get no respect. But in 1993, believe it or not, the Braves were 3 plays away from a 10-1 season.
Lost last seconds to Dillon, last seconds to Marlboro, and games that we thought that we really had a chance to win, and we felt like those teams did beat us, but we felt part of it was some things that we did and we can get better at. And I feel like in the off season we've made improvement. We're all a year older.
As a matter of fact, 17 starters returned from last year's team. The big name, Randy Sinclair, is back, and 94 figures to be his year.
Well, it's my last year, and I got to do my best. So I'm going to go all out and do my best I can do. And I kept saying my goal is 2,000 yards this year. And I'm looking for my team. My line. That's who's going to do it.
Last year, he wasn't used to all the pressure that was put on him, carrying the ball, playing defense, expected to do a lot of things for our football team. This year, he came prepared for that. And we really worked on him all year long, mentally, watching film, and just really talking about the pressures of his senior season. Everybody expecting so much from him.
To take some pressure off, look to senior quarterback D'Angelo Gauze. He's another top returner. Sockasty is loaded, but only the Braves themselves can earn the respect they deserve. Ken Slats reporting, 15 Sports. It's just a normal practice day at Cheraw, but you see, fans gather anyways. The Braves are still the state champions.
It gives us added incentive to play well. Our kids know how to win, and they know what it takes to win. We're awfully young, and But I'll tell you, Ken, as long as they think they can win, I'm not going to tell them any different.
They're going to need to win without graduated star Brian McManus. To fill the backfield, the Braves will run 5 or 6 different kids. The backfield strength, quarterback Neil Nolan.
We feel real good about Neil. He throws the ball real well, runs the option well, has a good grasp of our offense and the things that we need from our quarterback.
Coach Bourne will lead the Braves into the '94 season with the toughest non-region schedule in the state. Marlborough County, Chesterfield, Hartsville, Central, and Camden. It's the best preparation before entering into the state's toughest region.
I really believe out of the 6 teams, you could put, as far as who's going to the playoffs, you could put the 6 teams in a hat right now and pick 4 names and have a good shot with those 4.
And don't be surprised if Sherrod is one of those teams with that lucky draw. In Braves country, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. It's hard to believe Mark Martin is second in points. He's only won 1 race this year, a few weeks back at Watkins Glen. On to Darlington, where Martin is one of only a few that can actually say,
this racetrack has just never been real tough for us, and the Valvoline team puts me in a great car. So does the Winn-Dixie team, and it makes my job easy.
most drivers come here with an ugh on their face or uh-oh, we're at Darlington. Can you come to this place now with a smile?
I've always had a smile. At Darlington, I like this racetrack. I have never had any real bad luck, and I've had a lot of good luck and some just okay luck. So
he could very well inch closer to points leader Dale Earnhardt this Sunday. Now, something always on Mark Martin's mind, driver Ernie Irvin.
We've had more than our share of reality checks in the last 3 years in the NASCAR family, and this is just another one. Whenever someone in the family gets hurt, it hits us all hard. When it happens to your best friend, it hits even harder.
That is over. Dinner will be ready at 5.
Ken Slats, 15 Sports. More than 71,000 screaming fans at the cockpit Saturday night. With an advantage like that, makes it pretty tough to lose.
I'll tell you, this second game, the crowd was a big factor. I don't believe we could have won a football game, a game that close on the road. I think we won that game because we had the crowd and the support, the enthusiasm that they presented out there on that field.
I think it played a great role, a big role in causing trouble for Arkansas, making calls at the line. Sometimes, defensive linemen, they were getting at me because they couldn't hear what I was calling. So, if I had problems calling them out, I know they had a lot of problems.
The end result was the Gamecocks' first win of 1994. How it was done is a different story. Jekyll and Hyde. Great defense, bad offense.
I came in this morning and met with the defensive staff all day. I'm no longer associated with the offense on this team. I thought we guys on defense played pretty good.
The defense kept giving us opportunities, and we just couldn't do anything with them. I made mistakes, everybody made mistakes, and I think the best thing to come out of it is their mistakes we can correct. And I believe you have games like that, and thank God we won, and thank God for our defense.
Rejuvenation, the word to describe Gamecock football. Brad Scott picked up his first win as its head coach, and along the way, he brought excitement back to the Columbia campus.
That was as loud as any place that I've played in at the right times tonight, and I thought our crowd just did a super job. And together with the crowd and with the defense and with the kicking game, then we were able to beat a good football team that has a lot of talent and a lot of ability.
One thing the fans found out, there's a lot of talent and ability on defense for South Carolina. In fact, the Gamecocks have shut out their opponent just once in 5 years. This one's really sweet over a Danny Ford-coached offense.
Our defense just refused to let us lose that game. I've never been more proud of a defense in all of my coaching career, and just see time after time after time how they came up with a big play. as happy as I am for myself, I'm just as happy for our staff and for our kids. I mean, you should have seen the faces in that locker room today. I mean, everything that those kids have been through that was tough for them, it was worth it tonight. I bet they'd go back and do it over again.
September 93, the Gamecocks blew out Louisiana Tech 34-3, but in the past, South Carolina has had trouble with the Bulldogs, a team probably licking its chops.
My experience that you play a school like Louisiana Tech, who has been men to war on the road many times before. I mean, they played the Alabamas, they played the Auburns, they played the Tennessees, they played the Florida States. I mean, Lord, South Carolina's a football team that they know they can beat.
I mean, I don't believe our team will overlook them. We done matured a lot since last year, and we already been talking about, like, at the cafeteria, we know what we got to do going out in this game. We got to win it, and no matter what it takes, we got to win this game.
Kickoff 7 p.m. at Williams-Brice Stadium. Now it's on the road for the Clemson Tigers at Virginia. The Cavaliers are coming off a big win over Navy, while Clemson lost last week to NC State. It was one of the Tigers' most devastating losses in Death Valley ever.
There's not any magical cures. There's not anything that you can sprinkle over their head and all of a sudden they have experience and they're stronger. And, we've just got to continue to work, continue to try to improve this football team.
We have to slow them down. If they control the ball and get, 7, 8 yards here and there and keep moving the sticks and get 3 or 4 touchdowns, then it would be difficult for us to win.
No more moral victories needed for the Gamecocks. Last week's game proved USC is a pretty good football team, but another loss Saturday, this time to Arkansas, drops the home team to 0-2.
In the conference race, I think it's very important for us to win this football game because you might be able to survive one early loss in this conference, but certainly it's going to be difficult to survive 2.
It's time for us to really show what we could do. We've had bad games every time we played them. It's time for us to shape up and just, show them what South Carolina football is about.
While the Gamecocks are once again home at Williams-Brice Stadium, so are the Clemson Tigers. They will be here in Death Valley against NC State.
I think NC State does a good job. They do a good job coaching. They've got quality players with character. I think we do too. I think our coaches do a good job coaching. I think we've got some quality players with character, so it ought to be a heck of a football game.
Kickoff in Death Valley, 1 o'clock at Williams-Brice Stadium for the Gamecocks in Arkansas, 7 p.m. From now on is when the Gamecocks should be judged. At this point last season, South Carolina had the same 2-1 record the team has now. The major difference, Gamecock defense has allowed just 1 touchdown in the last 10 quarters.
I think a lot of the success for the defense, too, came because the offense they were holding up their end of the deal the second half, and our defense wasn't having to be on the field as much. And
you have to take pride as a defensive unit not to allow the other team to score, because the basis of the game is if they don't score, then they can't win. So we're trying our best not to let them score, hoping our offense to put some points on the board to counter that and, try to come up with the wins.
More of the test for first-year head coach Brad Scott. The crushing blow for the Gamecocks in '93 came at home to Kentucky, the same team South Carolina plays Saturday. For the first time this season, South Carolina heads on the road, away from the friendly confines of the cockpit. It is their first game on the road, so no one really knows what to expect.
Better be ready to play when you go into Lexington to play football, because some strange things have happened there. Now, we don't have a football team that should be rated better than them.
A first road game, everybody's kind of weird. We don't really know what to expect out of, the little things about the road game. So it's this last week's definitely going to help us, but there's some things we got to, be prepared for.
Reporting from Columbia, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. Saturday, South Carolina's plan came together, led by quarterback Steve Tannehill, who had a career day, 254 yards passing, including 2 touchdowns. Those numbers earned him SEC Offensive Player of the Week.
Fundamentally, he's not even the same young man. His faking, his ball handling, his attention to the detail out there has improved tremendously. And we still got a ways to go in some other areas, but we're working on that, and it means something to him. And you know, I'm happy for him that he was able to receive that honor.
His ego is gone. He's down to earth now, and he listens. He's coachable. I think, you know, he listens to what they're telling him, and because he knows they're going to make him better. And it's obvious the way he's playing that he's different. You know, when you don't see his helmet pop off, and you don't see him, you know, some of the things he used to do. I think, you know, you can live with the kid now.
It's not tough to get along with a kid who is leading your team to victory, especially when he's only getting better.
Steve continues to improve a little bit. I thought his outing this past game, and we were still off on a couple things, but obviously he's making the plays that we're asking him to make within the offense.
Reporting from Columbia, Ken Slats, 15 Sports. For Johnsonville head coach Doug Hinson, 1994 wasn't the best beginning. In fact, the defending 1A state champions lost their first 2 games.
Once you lose 20 out of 22 starters, it's going to be a rebuilding year. But these kids don't think that way. They want to go now. They want to win now. They want to win the conference championship, make it back to the state championship. And they're working hard enough that, you know, nothing's impossible. This might happen, you know, and that's what we believe in.
Belief and hard work has already turned this team around. The Flashes enter region play Friday on a 3-game winning streak, including an upset over Myrtle Beach.
Can't take Maywood lightly, but we are glad that we beat Myrtle Beach since, you know, last year we didn't beat them, but this year was a successful, so it was really successful.
They got a very good football team. We played a good game. We had a good game plan against them, but I don't think that matters now. You know, I think you got to take what you've done in the first 5 games and you got to apply it to the second 5, and that's what we're trying to do.
For a team with only 4 seniors, the Flashes already have come a long way and have visions of what could be at the end. Ken Slats, 15 Sports. It's the biggest win as of date for the Brad Scott era. South Carolina went to the hostile environment of Death Valley and proved that this Gamecock team is for real.
You never really got the respect. They were 8-point, you know, favorites over us. You know, we just wanted to show that we can win, you know, any place, even on the road.
That stadium was really loud, a lot of rowdy Cajuns down there, and we went down there and took it from them. It was their homecoming game, and I think this says a lot about our team.
One of the things that has enabled us to win thus far is a theme that we have adopted this year, Together We Will.
And together they have 4 in a row. A little shocking.
First day that I walked out to spring practice, I just didn't think it was possible because of the kind of athletes we have. But the thing that I guess you can't measure is the heart and determination and how they were willing to work in the fight in order to get better.
2 in a row on the road. First time that's happened in 21 years. Now it's back to Williams-Brice Stadium for the next 3 of 4. The question is, how much of an advantage will this be?
Home field advantage, you know, it's a sign in the Roost that says home field advantage means when you pick up the sign, there's nothing there. And that's what we think for about the other team. Home field advantage means nothing.
When coming home, we hope that they'll come out and the louder they cheer, then that creates some excitement and enthusiasm for the football players, and I just hope that we can capitalize on that.
Reporting from Columbia, Ken Slats, 15 Sports.